passed. I'm making reference to Mr. Mike Bedenbaugh, a Navy veteran, historic expert, political analyst, and author of Reviving Our Republic. He now joins us right here on the Live Zone. Mike, always good to see you, sir. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, guys. Great to be here, as always.
All right, so the countdown is on, the countdown to 1 year of President Trump back in office. Let's reflect on that first year. Anything in particular stand out to you, sir?
Yes, it's a president who believes there's not checks and balances and not another branch of the government that's supposed to mitigate the excesses of another. I couldn't help but listen to the last concept about the gift of the ballroom that President Trump is giving. People have to remember, this is not his building to spend whatever money he wants on it without any other decision making. I used to own a rental apartment. I would not have allowed one of my renters just to change the structure just because they're in there at the time. So we might well have needed a ballroom, but there's a process that you go through to make any decision in a republic like ours. So I've been more astonished at the assumption that the republic is run by one person through power play instead of through a system of checks and balances like we're supposed to have. And that's the biggest takeaway I have.
You made mention of power play. With regard to power play, I would argue executive orders happens to be at the top of that list. And I'm curious, the executive orders we saw coming out of the Oval Office in 2025, was it needed or was it in vain?
No, they were show. It was all about television. And most of those executive orders are just opportunities for speech. And they really mean nothing. And they shouldn't. We have slippery slope. And this is not just about the Republican administration or about Donald Trump specifically. This is over the past 40 years, we have slippery sloped into where presidents just start giving executive orders that are actual legislation, laws, instead of just overseeing their responsibilities in the administration and the executive branch. And so he's gone way off and being very open about it. Others have done it and kind of hid it. Shame on us and shame on everybody for not calling it out when it happened. When Biden did it, when Obama did it, it should have been called out. Now it's not even pretend. And it's an opportunity for everybody in the nation to say, wait a minute, this is not how laws are to be made in this nation.
Yeah. Mike, just like you, I love history. Absolutely love it. I was watching a show on the History Channel the other day, and it surrounded George Washington. And it got me thinking, what would the founding fathers, if you will, think about the current administration and what President Trump has already enacted?
Well, if you read the farewell address of George Washington, you will read him describing the current administration and other administrations, but specifically the current administration, where one person has been able to utilize the powers of his office, the powers of his wealth, and the powers of persuasion to build a small basis of support around him personally instead of the overall government. And they would see that, and I wouldn't say they would recoil in horror because they predicted this could happen, which is why they tried to put in the checks and balances. But they would say, I told you so. And you've got to get to work to put the balance right where it should be. Yeah. Because this is not the way the original republic was supposed to run.
Well, I have just a premonition that if that actually happened, President Trump perhaps might make mention of that cherry tree that was chopped down in order to strike back at Mr. Washington. But who knows?
Yeah, well, that was another myth created in the 19th century to try to create Washington as an icon of truth. Washington had his quirks and foibles and his faults as well. But he was one of the leading political thinkers out of the Enlightenment. And we have a lot to learn from his words in his farewell address, which is what I utilized in my book to say why we should revive what they had created.
And that's exactly what we'll end with, Mike. In this case, why the country needs to restore a balance between state and federal powers.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we are a federal government, and our states have given up a lot of our responsibilities. Being from the South, I'm very sensitive to the concept of states' rights. I understand how that was abused. Strom Thurmond, all of these folks in the segregationists abused that term. But what I look at is the concept of state responsibilities, because rights are worthless if you don't have responsibility tied into them. And there are responsibilities that the states should take back on so it's more localized to the community and culture of those states, instead of everything coming out of Washington and states begging for money from Washington to pay for services that actually the states should be paying for themselves.
Well said. Yet again, the name of the book, Reviving Our Republic, by the gentleman you see right there on your TV screen, Mr. Mike Bedenbaugh, joining us right here on the Live Zone. I truly appreciate your time, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Anytime. Thank you, Guy. Take care.
Bet.
Merry Christmas.
And a Merry Christmas to you as well.